Hi guys, so today this is the lesson. Okay, we are going to look at a passage-based question. Now before you start, you should have this worksheet. Okay, the flowers for Algernon for scene 16. I have uploaded it on Google Classroom, so make sure you already have it with you. Then we can proceed on this lesson. Of course, make sure you have your writing materials. Okay, if you want, you can annotate straight on the book, or you can print out a worksheet and we can continue to work on this together. Okay, so if you have read what I put on Google Classroom, this is the first lesson in a series of 3, which we will deal with a passage-based question. Okay, what is a PBQ, or PBQ for short? Okay, so a PBQ is actually what we will see in an exam setting. It is what and that is why we are going through this, because we want to be ready for whatever comes. Okay, in fact, yes, PBQ will definitely come out for end of year. Okay, so let's just go through what we want to do for today. Today I just want to tell you about what is required in a passage-based question. Okay, so the first thing that it requires, what it is testing you on, is your ability to pay attention to detail. You might say, Mr. Low, no need to read the book. They've already given me the passage. Yes, they've given you the passage, but that's because they don't need you to think about. They don't need you to quote from all over the book. They want you to pay very close attention to the words, what is said inside here. And more importantly, don't just tell me what's going on. The second thing that they want you to really pay attention to is to read between the lines. What is really being said? What is going on? Okay, it is like understanding human behavior. And how do you respond is in the form of an essay. Okay, there will be a question, you will answer the question, and of course you will need to make an argument. It must be your own point, something you come up with. Okay, there is no so-called model answer to this. You come up with it. As long as you can prove it and you can explain it, you are good to go. And we know that proving a point requires evidence. You explain what that means. Here, ladies and gentlemen, when we are talking about explaining, I do not let me change ink so you know. No paraphrase, no lifting. Lifting means copying. Okay, don't copy the passage. It's already the passage is already there. I already printed it for you. Why would I want you to copy it? Okay, don't describe. Okay, I need you to tell me what you learn about the characters. Okay, sorry. So we do this through this process of annotation. And here comes the big question. What do I annotate, Mr. Low? How am I supposed to annotate? Correct? Annotate means to what? Take note of important information. So before we can annotate, we must always read the question first. Okay? When I read the question, I will know what to do. So come, let's turn our attention to the question. Here, the question is at the bottom of the page. It says, what impressions do you have of Miss Kenyon in the scene, and what are your feelings of Charlie in this scene? So what I would do as a good student is to highlight what I think are the keywords. Okay, so here I'm being asked for impressions, right? So when I'm talking about impressions, I'm talking about characteristics. Okay, I'm talking about traits. Okay, what is she like? And of course, it's about Miss Kenyon. Please make sure it's the correct person. Okay, if you give me a beautifully written essay but it's not about Miss Kenyon, that will not be good. Okay, so I know, what does this tell me? It means that I must pay attention to Miss Kenyon. Okay, and then after that it says, what are your feelings for Charlie in this scene? Okay, so feelings tells me that I need to look for emotions, and Charlie is the focus. Okay, so what you can do if you find that it is useful is that you could use different colors to highlight. Okay, so for example, maybe I want to use yellow for Miss Kenyan. Oh, so sorry. And maybe I want to use orange for Charlie. So later when I highlight, then it is obvious who I am highlighting for. Okay, so now I know what I need to pick out: characteristics, emotions, traits. Okay, these are the same things that you will see in the exam. Okay, so let's go back to our annotation strategy. Okay, so what am I supposed to annotate? So now I know that it is about Miss K and Charlie. How am I going to know about them? Okay, so Charlie's feelings, right? So how do I know what somebody is feeling? Okay, I would think of just put it in very simple terms. How do you know what somebody is feeling? You look at their speech, you look at their behavior, which is their actions. Okay, you can look at their thoughts. Okay, so these are all things you can look at, and the same thing applies for Miss Kinnian. Okay, how about, do you know what Miss Kinnian is like? You can not just look at this, you can look at their reactions to things. Okay, you can look at the words that she uses. So somebody, for example, who uses a lot of Singlish, you might say that the person might not have a very good education. But if you see somebody who uses a lot of difficult and chim vocabulary, maybe this person is very arrogant. I don't know. Okay, so all these are different words that you can use. Different categories of things that you should pay attention to when you annotate. Okay, so what you should do, okay, is to pick out or highlight, okay, underline, okay, interesting things about the characters, right? So you should pick out things which you know, seem important. They might jump out of the ordinary. There might be something out of the ordinary. Okay, so let me demonstrate. Okay, let's go back to the worksheet, everybody, and now I am looking. Let's look at the start. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is look at it. Philosophy Original Scene 16. Okay, this is important. Why? I must know the context. So I must know what has gone on before, what is going to happen. And right now at scene 16, what I know is that Charlie has been learning what already has gone on. I know that he's been bullied by Joe and Frank. I know that he made an improvement in the factory. Okay, I know that things are going on, and Charlie seems to be developing. He's much smarter than he was previously, but I'm not sure whether his feelings have caught up yet. Okay, so I roughly know what's going on. Okay, so let's go. Miss Kinnan says, okay, Charlie, we'll stop there for tonight. Charlie says, right. He closes, puts the book down. Miss Kinnan is a little uneasy. Okay, this is strange because I don't normally see this. So Miss Kinnan is a little uneasy. I don't know why. So she must be uneasy at something. So I might annotate. What is she uneasy at, right? So with what? I don't know yet, so I'm going to find out. So she says, that was good, Charlie, very good. Don't worry, Miss Ken, I'm not smart yet. Miss Ken says, I'm sorry. This is very interesting. So I will highlight it. Oops, so sorry. I will highlight it. And I'll ask myself, what is she sorry for, right? What is she apologizing for? So if you can see, as I annotated, I'm not really coming up with answers. I'm coming up with more questions, because when I am able to answer those questions, I can figure out what the book is about. Okay. Let me just give you one more example. Okay. Charlie says, it's very hard. I never read such a hard book before. I feel sorry for him. Oh, this is very interesting. So Charlie feels sorry for Robinson Crusoe. I feel sorry for him. So the question is, of course, why does Charlie feel sorry for him? okay, for Robinson Crusoe. So if I go on, it says because he's all alone and he has no friends. Okay, what does this mean? That means Charlie knows what it's like, correct? Okay, so this is an example of what to annotate. So look at what am I doing. I've picked out all the other interesting things, right? My next step was to ask myself questions. Okay. So for example, let's go back and I said, let's look at this. I said, why did Charlie feel sorry for Miss Kenyon, correct? Sorry, not for Miss Kenyon, for Robinson Crusoe. So this is the question that I asked myself that will help me answer the question. So what I do now is that I try to think about it because Charlie feels sorry because Robinson Crusoe is lonely. What does this mean though? So what if Robinson Crusoe is lonely? This means that Charlie knows what it is like. And now I'm starting to answer the question because I am discovering what Charlie is like. And now that Charlie feels lonely, I am able to start to talk about what I feel for him. Okay? And so that is the third step. Answer your own questions. And this will help us to begin to deal with the rest of the passage. So for the rest of this lesson, okay, please spend the rest of the time. In fact, before the next lesson, okay, the homework is to finish annotating. Okay, finish annotating this passage for Charlie and Miss Kenyon. You don't have to answer the questions yet. I just need you all to annotate the passage. Go and pick out all the important things about Charlie and Miss Kenyon. I understand that this is like prep work and there's no way I can confirm that you have done it, short of you taking a picture and sending it to me. But this is an important exam skill, so please try to do it by yourself so that the next lesson when I go through it, you will gain something from it. All right? Okay, I tell you a joke. What starts with T, ends with T, and is full of tea? It is a teapot. Haha.